Welcome back, everybody. So another day to review different principles to prepare for your real estate exam. In this video, we're going to talk about general principles of agency. There's three different types of principle of agency, how we represent the client or not. Okay, so this will cover agency, non-agency relationships, and then other broker relationships, buyer rep agreement, and property management agreement. So with that said, what's up, everybody? This is Wild Lillie Handy Dominguez coming to you from San Antonio, Texas with AgentPrep to help you pass your real estate exam or learn how to build your real estate business. If this is your first time to my video, to my channel, and you want to know everything and anything about passing the exam or learning to build your business or grow it, well, this is the channel for you. So remember to, hey, tap that subscribe button, click that little bell so that you get notified, be one of the first ones to learn about me posting a new video or going live. And like this video, type a comment below. Let me know what else you would like to learn about. Okay, so stay tuned because YouTube then promotes the channel and it encourages me to create more videos for you. All right, so let's get with it. It's a beautiful Saturday morning. Hi, Tamika. Okay, so I had a request to review general principles of agency. So instead of doing vocabulary questions for national or state, this is what we're doing today. So you get about 13% of your exam on agency. Crucial, right? You get 2 books that you study for the state of Texas. Okay, so Texas has the most strict and most education required in order to get your real estate license. That's 180 hours. 60 hours is about principles of agency, broken down in 2 books. Okay, Principles of Agency 1, Principles of Agency 2. So that is how important it is for you to understand. So it says that you get about 10 to 11 questions on the exam. You know, maybe more, maybe less. That's up to. All right, so at any time, type some comments in the chat, either on YouTube, Facebook business page, or our Facebook group. I am streaming through all those channels and then into all that media, and you'll also be able to review it afterwards. Okay, so what is general principles of agency? We have agency and non-agency relationships, right? The non-agency is when we're working with a customer. So the agency, the types of agents and agency. So that's when an agent works on behalf of a principal, which is a client, a seller, or a buyer, that we have an agreement signed. Okay, in order to create that relationship, that agency relationship, there must be an agreement signed. Otherwise, they are a customer. And then we learn about what we owe those clients and principals in an agency relationship. So here's an example question. The owner of an apartment building has just signed an agreement with a real estate firm. Has an agency been formed? So the owner of an apartment building has just signed an agreement with a real estate firm. Has an agency been formed? Yes, because an agency is formed whenever a party delegates another the right to act on their behalf in certain business transactions, right? An agreement's been signed by both parties. Both parties have specific performance. And now 2 words, specific performance, are very important on these agreements. Okay, but whether be it a listing contract, a buyer contract, a listing agreement, a buyer contract, a buyer's rep agreement, a rental agreement, or a property management agreement, okay? However, we don't do property management until we become brokers. And then another question. A salesperson lists a property with a contract that allows for sub-agency and dual agency. The salesperson is what? An agent to the broker and a sub-agent to the principal, right? Because when we represent the owner, we are the agent, okay, and the broker. The sub-agent is a realtor, a salesperson, or a broker that is working with a buyer, however, does not have a buyer's rep agreement signed. Buyer wants to represent themselves. Therefore, they become the sub-agent to the principal. So their fiduciary duties are to the seller. Okay, in some states, most states it allows it. However, we don't practice it here with the agency that I'm with, sub-agency. We get the buyer to sign a buyer's rep agreement because you want to protect their interest, advise them correctly, and protect ourselves. And also, dual agency is not allowed in Texas. We represent one. However, we can write the contract for a buyer that we don't represent and present it to the seller. We just cannot advise them, guide them, and recommend a price range to make an offer, right? We can inform them of any information that is on the market that is public, okay? We don't owe them our old car fiduciary responsibilities. So we as a sub-agent are actually representing the seller as a substitute, right? Sub-agent. Hi, Harris. Okay, so another question. A licensee who finds a buyer a house listed with his own firm. Okay, this is kind of like this question up here. And is paid a fee by the buyer for finding a suitable house, has what type of agency? So this one is dual agency. When I practiced real estate in Oregon, we could represent both sides. Okay, seller, buyer. I take my hat off, represent the seller, put my hat on, represent the buyer. Okay, so keeping everything completely separate. That's not allowed in Texas. So when the property is listed with our firm, and then we bring a buyer into and we're the same realtor, we're now representing the buyer also. That is dual agency. Sorry, my cats. I have a little teenager that adopted the neighborhood, man, and he adopted us. However, he's gone through his like terrible twos or something. So anyway, sorry about that. I'm an animal lover, right? So that's why I'm wild and crazy. I love animals, and they get me going. Okay, they make us laugh. You see, when we laugh, we stay young and we relax. Okay, because in this business, I'll tell you what. I'm getting a little bit off the subject. However, it's very important. We need to laugh, okay, and chill. All right. Don't get all stressed out.
Welcome back to my channel.
Sorry, I'm trying to get both all the. Oh my God, those cats got me distracted. Okay, so I'm looking up on the Facebook, so in case somebody comments on there, that I can respond. And sorry, I'm and read any comments. Okay, so bear with me here for a moment. Now that the cat's distracted me, let me get the other media going so that I can answer any questions from anybody on either Facebook or YouTube or Facebook business page. Okay, bear with me. Okay. And you see, what is that called? Like multitasking? We shouldn't multitask. Focus on one thing at a time. However, I'm teaching here, and so I need to be prepared on all these media. All right, very good. Let's continue on. So we're talking about a licensee who has the listing and brings the buyer. They're a dual agent. In Texas, we have the listing, we bring a buyer, they represent themselves, or we have a realtor assigned to them if it's under the same umbrella. If it's under the same umbrella, then it becomes a intermediary for the broker. Okay. All right. So brokers are responsible for complying with all federal laws. Okay. Keep office compliant. That's why we have a compliant department to review all our documents, and we have E&O, errors and omissions, right? That makes sure that covers up if for some reason we make a bad mistake, and we are protected with the error and omissions insurance, unless we're doing it with an intent of malice. Okay, so you've got to study contracts. I created a video on reviewing the details of the contract 1 to 4 family for the state of Texas. Watch that. A lot of questions on your exam. Okay, so that is federal laws. Brokers are responsible for supervising and training agents they sponsor. Okay, I'm a realtor. I'm not a broker. Okay, I was a broker in Oregon. I find that it's not necessary with the agency that I'm with, EXP. So I am a sponsor, but a realtor sponsor, not a broker. Okay, so brokers are responsible for supervising and training agents they sponsor. Agents, moi, us, realtors, we are independent contractors. We get a 1099, okay, as our W-2. We are our own boss. I'm the boss of me, right? Nobody else is our boss. We don't work for the broker or any agency unless you become a transaction coordinator or you get a job with them and you're licensed. That's different. You're going to get a paycheck. As an independent contractor, we are our own boss, but we follow the state and federal law regulations and laws. So we have to take now legal update 1, legal update 2 every time you renew our license, which I'm doing now. Okay, very good. We got that. Independent work contractors. We don't work for the broker. We're self-employed. So don't expect anything to be given. If you're given a lead, like if you're given a client to go do repairs, okay, they're going to pay you for it and you have to negotiate. As an independent contractor, if you get a lead, okay, it's going to cost you money because they're giving you the lead. Everything costs money. You might get one or a few leads here or there, okay, during the training, but not as a norm. So here's a simple question. A managing broker requires his licensees to mention a particular lender to buyers. The broker has a financial interest in the particular mortgage lender. Which of the following should the licensee recommend to the buyers? Answer, consider this lender disclosing the broker's interest and other lenders. As a realtor or agent, we're required to recommend, 3 so that the buyer interviews and chooses their own. We don't tell them what to do. We don't tell them which one to use, because a lot of people think we have a special relationship. We're going to get paid under the table. Big no, 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 no. Okay. Our fiduciary duty, we get paid only through the commission, through the broker. However, we can recommend relationships that we have with lenders, title companies that are responsive to us, right? And that we know are going to do an excellent job and treat the clients the way we treat our clients. Got it? Okay. Any questions so far? No. Okay.
Although,
are you guys having issues with Facebook? Because it seems to be lagging at my end. All right. Anyway, so for anybody who just came in, we are reviewing 3 general agency principles. okay, of real estate. So we can recommend lenders. It's good to always recommend more than one. We don't get along with every single person we meet, right? So that's why we offer 3. So here are 3 different types of agency relationship. A special agent, I'm special, okay? Special agency, an agent who handles one real estate transaction for a principal, one specific thing, specific, special. Hi, Ruth. Thank you for joining us. So special agent, one specific property, one, right? We're special, we're specific. General agency, general, broad, right? When you talk about a general topic, or the general of the military, the Army, the Air Force, the Navy, the Marines, right? A general, right? They're over a whole bunch of people. A general topic. It's not narrowing it down to understand it quickly and easily to focus on one thing. So as a special agent, we focus on one client, on one property. General agency, property managers. For a principal, they can handle transactions and sign contracts. Have a universality in one business aspect, one area. So in order to be a property manager, we must be brokers. In the state of Texas, it takes 4 years of practicing real estate, taking the brokerage exams, and meeting certain criteria. So many units of property of sales that we have done, commercial, residential, land, rentals, okay, any types of things, then we have to show that we have done that. It's not just practice real estate 4 years and you become a broker. So general, broad, property managers have lots of responsibilities, right? So think about it that way. Universal agent, power of attorney. So this is an agent, like a general manager, that's given a power of attorney from their client. Can do things in someone else's, the principal, the owner of the property, name for them. So if the owner of these properties, multiple complexes, hotels or whatever, and they don't want to be constantly called to make decisions, then they give the power of attorney to the individual that they really trust. And that is their property manager. They are a universal agent. So one specific property, general agent, property managers of lots of properties, many transactions. Universal agent has the most ability to do things for that owner, okay, for that seller. Hi, Juan. Thank you for joining us. All right. This is a very important topic, okay? The majority of your schooling has to do with agency, principles of agency. Okay. So it was good that one of the students asked if I could do this. All right. That's a sample question here. When a principal authorizes an agent to perform a particular act or transaction, it is an example of what? Special agency, right? A particular, okay? One specific. So principal authorizes, who's the principal? Seller, owner, or the buyer, okay? Landlord, so seller or buyer or investor. And they act in the transaction as a special agent. They're dealing with one particular property or transaction. Okay. And when it says agent, it can be broker, it can be realtor. Okay. It's just that as an agent, we're a realtor. When we get more training and more experience, we can become a broker. So we're an agent associated with the broker. That's the umbrella. Okay. All right. So another question, what do special, general, and universal types of agency have in common? Okay, you see the answer right away. Rise and shine. Oh my gosh, I love that. Rise and shine. Who the heck is rise and shine? That's the first video, the first audio that I listened to on Pep Talk. It's an app that I wake up and it says, rise and shine. Okay, that's how I get my high energy. Well, it helps along with it. Okay, so other brokerage relationships, non-agent. So I'm sorry, let's go back. So what do special, general, and universal agencies type of aid have in common? They originate with who? The principal, right? Special agent is handling for a principal. Property manager, general agency for a principal. Universal agency, power of attorney for a principal, right? They all have principal. And who's the principal? Not the principal of the school, okay? But the principal, owner, landlord, buyer of a listing or a transaction contract. Got it? Any questions before we move on? Great. Right. I love that rise and shine. I got to find out who that rise and shine is. All right. So number one was, excuse me, types of agents and agencies, right? So types of agencies, special, general, universal. Got that? Special, one. General, broad. Universal, power of attorney. Number two, other brokerage relationships, non-agents. Okay, they're transactional or they're facilitators. Okay, so a sample question. A realty firm has just entered into an agreement to represent a home builder in the sale of a new subdivision. The firm has located several potential buyers and 5 homes have been sold to purchasers that the firm's agents have contacted. Okay, the firm's agents sold to purchaser. The realty firm has an agency relationship with whom? The builder, right? Because the realty firm entered into an agreement with the home builder of the subdivision. So you become the exclusive realtor for that home builder. Man, that's awesome. So then we're attracting buyers through other realtors or just directly into the subdivision. So who do we represent? The builder, not the other buyers. Okay, those other buyers could come on their own, or they could come with another realtor from another firm or from our own firm. But we have the listing agreement with the builder. Got it? All right, another question. A listing licensee has an exclusive right to represent a new subdivision. Awesome, man. She or he shows properties in the subdivision to prospective buyers who are not working with other licensees. She prepares the offers for those who decide to buy. Which of the following statements best describes this situation? Do they have something signed with the buyer? No, the buyers are not represented by the licensee. Okay, the licensee has an exclusive right to represent the subdivision, and that subdivision is owned by the builder. So a buyer comes in, we can facilitate and write the offer. So we become a facilitator. Now we can recommend that they get their own realtor. We have to advise them of that, okay? You might think, well, if I do that, man, then I'm not going to get both sides. Well, you know what? But you're going to be protected legally because that's our right. Disclose and help and be honest first, okay? So don't worry about losing a commission or losing the other side, okay, in exchange for getting penalized or doing something that you shouldn't be. Okay, things will come back to you when we do what's right, honestly, ethical, and work with integrity. Okay, that is how we practice. How would you like somebody representing you and helping you that's dishonest? You wouldn't, right? So then you provide that to everybody else. So in this case, the listing licensee, exclusive right to represent. So whether they represent the buyer or not, which they're not because they already represent the seller, they're going to get paid. Okay, so we become a facilitator. Got it? Transactional, brokerage relationships, non-agent. It's a transaction. Per transaction, we are facilitators when we don't have a buyer's rep agreement, when we represent the seller. This is for Texas. If you're from another state, look at your state laws. Your state laws may be different, and you may have dual agency. So I am a realtor in Texas, so I'm referring to Texas because that's what I know about. I know Oregon because I practice there. Oregon has dual agency. Okay. So B, agent's duties to clients. Okay, so this was still on topic number 1, right? Agent's duties to clients. Old car, right? Agent, fiduciary duty to the client, to the principal. To the customer, they're a third party, which we don't represent. We're the seller's realtor. We represent the seller. And to the buyer, okay, so the agent, we're the seller's realtor. To the client and principal, they are the seller, right? Customer, we owe the buyer honesty and fairness. Customer, nothing is signed. No relationship, agency relationship. Got it? So as an agent, we're a realtor for the seller. As the seller and the client is a seller. Buyer, they're the third party. They represent themselves if we have the listing, when we have the listing, okay? So what are our fiduciary responsibilities? Okay, let's see. So Texas doesn't have dual agency. That is correct. Okay, who said that? Lisbeth. That's right. We do not have dual agency. We represent one client only. We have single agency. Okay. The other state I know, Oregon, dual agency, but we're here in Texas, or I'm here in Texas, we have single agency. No, two. We can facilitate, okay, a contract for the buyer, write the contract for them, provide honesty and fairness, and give them public information, but no guidance, no advice, okay, no formal disclosures except what is pertinent facts. All right, so fiduciary, good question, Lisbeth. Anybody else? No. So fiduciary responsibilities: obedience, loyalty, disclosure, confidentiality, forever, accounting, and reasonable care. Old car. I love old cars, man. I have 2 of them, 23 years old, right? 2 Mercedes. Awesome cars, right? It's now an antique. It's not quite a classic yet. Okay. Fiduciary responsibilities. Obedience. Why? We're getting paid by our client. When we represent the seller is paying us as the realtor, whatever percentage we negotiate. I negotiate 6%. Out of those 6%, I pay 3%, or my broker and I pay 3% to the buying broker and buyer agent. That's what happens to the 6% that the seller pays. The buyer is not paying unless we're representing them and they want a for sale by owner. Somebody's got to pay if we're going to help them. Either the for sale by owner is going to pay. If they say no and the buyer really wants it, then the buyer's going to pay our 3%, 4%, 2%, whatever we negotiate. Okay. Always charge for your business. Well, let me read. Always is too absolute. Sometimes we do things for free. Okay. But remember, we're in the business of making money, just as they are, okay? So loyalty, we are loyal to our clients. And we ask them to be loyal to us, right? Because we have an exclusive right to sell agreement. Or we have a buyer's represent agreement, and that's how we're going to get paid. So it is specific performance on both sides. Sellers are loyal to us, we are loyal to them. Buyers are loyal to us, we are loyal to them. Disclosure. We disclose whatever we are aware of and we know about the property. Now, we don't disclose personal things about the client. That's confidentiality. We learn from the seller what they disclose in the seller's disclosure notice about the property. We've got to disclose that. If we're related to the owner, we must disclose that and write it in the contract. Okay. If we are involved in a business ownership, having 10% ownership or more, and we're buying it as a partnership or whatever, and I'm the realtor, must disclose. We do not deceive anyone. Confidentiality is confidentiality information about our client. Okay. Accounting, we've got to be accountable to them, okay, on anything that we're working with them, okay, finances, following through with whatever is on the listing agreement and the property. So we provide accounting to our actions, okay, our duties of when we're representing a seller. Our job is to attract a ready, willing, and able buyer, whether we bring them or another realtor brings them or they bring themselves. Okay, so we have to update our sellers, okay, communicate and reasonable care. Okay, we do whatever we can, okay, in our ability, in our knowledge to care for our client, advise them, guide them, refer them to attorneys, to accountants, to home inspectors, to different title companies. Okay, we have the all-encompassing responsibility of taking care of our client. Okay, we don't owe that to the buyer. We owe them honesty and fairness, right? Honesty and fairness. Okay, any questions so far on that before I go into the questions they have and I can sip a coffee? Okay, questions. Licensee has entered into a dual agency, not in Texas. In this situation, it is critical that all parties understand that it is impossible for the licensee to fully perform for either party the traditional common law agency duty of loyalty. Okay, so in a dual agency, yes, it's difficult to be loyal to just one client. We have two clients in the states that allow representing both. So we've got to wear the hat for the seller, take that seller hat off and put the buyer hat. I should have brought another hat. All right. And put the buyer hat on. So we cannot fully perform loyalty to the party. Common law agency duty of loyalty is difficult to perform when we represent both. Okay. We have reasonable care to both of them, right? And accounting to both of them. But like, let's say, okay, this is a crazy example. So if you have two boyfriends or two girlfriends, can you be loyal to both of them 100%? No. Okay. The other party's going to get pissed off, right? Same here. All right. So another question. Okay. Any questions? No. All right. A licensee has an agency relationship agreement with a buyer. Licensee has agency representation agreement. So a buyer's representation agreement, buyer-tenant, right? That's what it's called, buyer-tenant relationship. When showing another company's listing, what obligation does the licensee have to the seller and the listing broker at the other company? So I'm the realtor. I have an agreement signed with the buyer. and I'm taking them to somebody else's listings. That's typically what we do, right? Disclose the agency relationship when arranging the showing, and disclose material information about the buyer if presenting an offer. I'm going to say when presenting an offer. That's what we want to do. Present offers, write offers, write offers, write offers. That's how we get paid. That's how we make a living. This is our business. That's how we grow our business, making money by presenting offers, representing sellers, representing buyers. However, we disclose to the other party, the listing party, we're showing properties for them. We're requesting a showing and we say, hey, I'm representing a buyer. Here's our pre-approval letter. And we're going to do it in such and such time. And we disclose whatever information is required. That is not confidential. Okay. What is confidential? Personal information, financial information. The financial goes to the lender. Okay. And that's between the lender and the buyer. The buyer may want us to be involved. So we can do that. We can go to the appointment with them to get it started. We don't disclose any of that. We don't go and tell the listing agent, hey, my buyer can offer, 5,000 more. That's what they told me. Crap. You're in trouble if you get found. No. Never, never, never. And you never disclose the contract price to anybody. Okay? A lot of realtors are going to say, well, I'm your best friend. You can tell me, I'll keep it secret. No. Okay? The law says we do not share what the offer price is with anyone. Because what if the deal falls? Now my friend realtor knows and they could have a client to buy it. Now they know what the seller had accepted. No. If it's going to hurt them, let it hurt them. You follow the law. Be ethical. Have integrity. It's your business, okay? You're the owner. But we have to follow the laws. All right. So we have to disclose the agency. Sorry, I get passionate about that, okay? Because I came from an engineering background and we have to be ethical. We're dealing with people's lives, personalities, emotions. Real estate for buyers and sellers is very emotional. Okay. I'm more of a black and white. Okay. I don't put emotion into it. It's not a personal thing. If you get personal about how a client treats you, if you don't want that client, you fire them. They can fire you also. Never allow disrespect or being treated badly. It's not worth the commission. Okay. All right. So what do businesses do if somebody is misbehaving in their store? Walk them out the door, right? Well, we can do the same. This is a professional business, not just a career. You own this business. Okay. How you practice it is the impression you're going to give everybody else and how you're going to build your reputation. All right. Continuing on. Second question. A real estate salesperson is representing only the buyer in a transaction. Okay, that's a special agent, right? Which of the following actions would be a violation of the salesperson's agency duties to the client? Disclosing the highest price the buyer is willing to pay. Isn't that what I set up here? That the buyer agents, I've had buyer agents tell me that. Okay. Or listing agents say seller will accept less. No. So we cannot do that. Disclose the highest price our client is willing to pay. Our job is to get the lowest and best price for our buyer when we represent the buyer. Our job, obligation, responsibility as a listing agent representing the seller is get them the highest and best price. Okay. Making sure it is going to be able to get appraised, right? And negotiate for our clients. Okay. We never disclose. That is confidentiality. That's a no-no. All right. Last question here. A licensee anxious to make a sale violates his duties towards his principal if he volunteers which of the following pieces of information to a prospective buyer? Answer. You should make an offer for less than the listing price because the owner is anxious to sell. Again, no, and no. All right. No. What part of no don't we understand? N-O. We don't disclose that a seller is willing to take less. We don't disclose that the buyer is willing to do more. That's our job, to get them the highest, best price for the seller and the lowest, best offer for the buyer. Okay? You can get reported, okay, and lose our license for that. Okay, enough passion, okay? So what was number one here? The fiduciary responsibilities. Number two, traditional agency duties. And three, powers of attorney and other delegation of authority. Okay, the powers of attorney, that's what? Universal agent. And then traditional agency duties. Okay, we still doing old car. And keep in mind, everybody, that I'm dealing with Texas here. If you just came in, we're doing general agency relationships, which is national, federal. However, certain things here, when it comes to agency, dual or single agency, I'm dealing with Texas. Okay. All right. So creation of agency and non-agency agreements. Disclosure of conflict of interest. Okay, so for those of you that came in late, okay, or came in a little bit after, we're talking about general principles of agency. Types of agencies was agents and agencies was one. So agency and non-agency relationship, right? Have a signed agreement and a non-signed known representation. A special agent, one property. A general agent, property managers. They're universal, like a general. Universal, they have a power of attorney. So that was number one. Number two was other broker relationships. So first, agents and non-agent. And we do transactional agreements, and then we can facilitate for buyers that are not representing. And that's where you deal with the duties of clients. Okay. And then number three, or C under number one, creation of agency and non-agency agreements, disclosure of conflict of interest. Agency and agency agreements, key elements of different types of listing contracts, and key elements of buyer, brokerage, tenant representation. Sorry about that. That teenager kitty is chasing one of my other cats. Darn. Okay. Hey, well, that creates a little bit of distraction. Hey, gosh. Oh, well, they're going to have to work it out. It's like having kids. So where was I? All right. Agency and agency agreements. Key elements of different types of listing agreements, contracts, and key elements of buyer, brokerage, tenant representation contracts. Hi, Iris. Happy Saturday. Yes, it's a good one. Okay, number one, buyer representation agreement. It's buyer tenant. It has buyer/tenant representation agreement. So this is for buyer agency, when we represent the buyer only in the state of Texas. And it has a start date and an end date. And it has areas that we're going to help them look for properties and what type of properties we're going to look for them. And so anyway, important, starting date, end date. Very important. Okay. Just like a lease agreement, a rental agreement, it has a start and end date, right? Even if it's month to month. Okay. Number two, listing agreement. A listing agreement is a service contract. Agent performs a service. Okay. We're also providing a service to the buyer. The service is to search for homes and help them find their perfect home, or a new home, or their special home, or their favorite home, or their dream home. Okay, lots of words used. So there are different types of listing agreement. Very crucial. Pay attention to this. A, an open listing. Seller lists with several brokers. Only the one who sells it gets the commission. In other words, we don't sell it, okay? We bring a ready, willing, and able buyer, ready to buy, ready, willing, able. They're ready now, not a year from now. They're able to buy financially. Okay. Buyer, ready, willing, and able. Okay. They're willing to buy. They're not triggering around carrying the carrot, and they're financially able. They have a pre-approval. Okay. Or they're cash. Or they're doing a, what do you call it? An exchange. Okay. So that's an open listing. Any realtor could bring this seller an offer. That owner does not want to list with anybody. So you might be wasting your time because lots of realtors are helping them. It's non-exclusive. Doesn't need a termination date. It's open to everyone, right? So you might be doing marketing and advertising the property, calling a lot of people, and yet somebody else brings the buyer. You got nothing. Only that one buyer. So that owner is getting a lot of attention, a lot of free advertising. Okay. Don't do that to yourself. Now, if it is a loyal client that you have, there's always exceptions to the rule. When we have a loyal client, we've worked for years and they don't want to put it on the market yet. That's okay. That's different. And that happens sometimes in commercial properties and major land, agriculture, huge acreage farms. That's okay, because that client's going to be loyal to you. It's like in the old days, people had a handshake, right? And that was their word, then that's okay. In general, nowadays, no. Put it in writing. B, exclusive agency. Seller lists with one broker, but if seller finds the buyer, they don't have to pay the broker a commission. This needs a termination date. So this has a start and an end date. So it says only exclusive. So you can bring the buyer, okay, or another realtor can bring the buyer. However, the seller has the right to find the buyer and not pay us a commission. The one that you learn most about, okay, the exclusive right to sell listing. That's where whether we bring the buyer or the seller brings the buyer, we get paid for our work. That's an exclusive right, okay, right to sell. This one, exclusive agency. Owner can bring the buyer, we get no money. Exclusive right to sell. We have the right to sell it, no matter if it's us, another realtor, or the seller brings them, right? Because all the marketing that we do, especially today on all these different media, it gets around, right? Where do people search? Online. We deserve to get paid, just like attorneys, accountants, doctors, haircutters, anybody else. So seller lists with one broker, us. No matter who finds the buyer, the broker gets the commission. Start date, end date. The exclusive agency, start date, end date. Open, there is no agreement. Net listing. Net listings are legal in Texas. There are some states that don't allow it. Rights to commission, that's right. So an exclusive right to sell is right to commission, no matter who brings the buyer. Thank you for that, Ruth. So a net listing, can be an ethical issue if we have dishonest realtors. The seller wants a certain amount for a property, and the broker can keep any amount above and beyond the property sold above their number. So let's say the owner wants 500,000. He says, I want a net. And net is what? Net is after all expenses to sell. Okay, the commission, the title company, survey, appraisals with the buyer, any cost that they might pay for the buyer, all those types of things. So they want a net 500. The property might be listed for 550, 575, 600. So what if the realtor lists it above the real market value and it doesn't sell quickly? So a realtor could say, hey man, I'm going to make more money. I'm going to make more commission. All the seller wants is $500,000. Okay, after all expenses. So remember, 6% is what I negotiate. I say I, okay, because if you can negotiate 10% commission, awesome. If you're shy and not confident enough, you might give in to a seller and say, okay, I'll only charge you 4. Okay. No, you deserve what you provide. This is our business. So if we list it honestly with them, yes, because they're allowed in Texas. However, we have to list it at a price that it's going to sell. And that's okay, as long as it's based on comparables within the last 6 months or within the last 3 months. Net listing is legal in Texas. We don't use them, but they are legal. Okay, unless it changed from just recently. Who is that? Iris. Oh, net listings. I could be wrong. The last time I looked. See, they are legal in California and Texas. Got it? All right. So, good. And so, yes, we can do them. Most brokers won't allow us to do it because of that. There are a lot of dishonest realtors out there. It's sad, but we have a lot of dishonest business owners, leaders in the world, okay? All kinds of dishonesty. And we have a lot of honest, ethical people with integrity. Okay, so in this case, the realtor could list it for $600,000. And it gets an offer for, the 600,000. So they get their commission. And after all the expenses, usually the cost of selling a property can be about 7.5%. Okay. And the higher the price, the cost of sale is going to be lower because certain things are fixed, like the escrow fee, the tax service, the appraisal, the, survey, if they have to pay for that, the title policy, pretty much those are fixed, okay, based on standard pricing by those vendors. However, the commission, right, is 6% of the list price, or 5%, or 8%, or 3%. So if we had a $600,000 property, okay, you're not seeing my calculations, okay. However, so I'm gonna say, okay, after all expenses are paid, I added like 8%. Okay, then let's see, what did I do? Yeah. So I said expenses are 8%. Maybe the buyer asked for closing costs or something like that. There would be $552,000 left after all the expenses. So the seller gets $500,000. The realtor gets $52,000 plus their 6% commission. That's a pretty good deal, right? If they were able to sell it. That's a net listing. Okay. All right. Continuing on. Okay, this class is going to go over an hour. So you hang in there. It's very important. You have in Texas 2 classes, 60 hours that you took. So here's a sample question. In an exclusive right to sell, no matter who brings the offer, seller, it's commission, right? In an exclusive right to sell, an owner lists the property for sale with how many brokers? How many? 1. 1, 1, 1, 1. Okay. Exclusive right to sell. 1 broker. On February 1st, a licensee with ABC Realty takes a 3-month exclusive right to sell listing on a house. On March 1st, the licensee moves out of state and inactivates his license. What happens to that listing? Okay. And type on the chat box and tell me what happens to that listing. If a realtor has a listing and they move out of state. Type in the chat box. Who keeps that listing? Or what happens, I should say. What happens to that listing? Come on, type it in the box, in the text box, in the chat box. Gee, nobody's taking the risk here? No? Come on. Okay. It remains a valid exclusive right to sell listing contract with the broker. Because who do the listings and the contracts belong to? The broker. Okay. Now, if that listing, and it says brokerage gets, yes, it belongs to the broker. And it says they inactivate. So that means they cannot earn any commission. They are inactive. Now they move to another broker, okay, or another state, but their license is still active. So when that listing sells, okay, that listing agent could still earn their commission. Okay. However, because you can move somewhere else, still be active, still be the realtor, still deal with the client. Okay, until a contract. Today, we are virtual. We work on the cloud. Okay, we can work from anywhere. Our phone, our tablet, our computer, okay, anywhere. So it's okay if you move. The key word here is inactive. So they're not going to get any commission paid. But the listing stays with the broker. Listings and contracts belong to the broker. Now, brokers will allow you, not all of them, but the majority, if you move to another agency, they will allow you to take the listings with you if they're not under contract. If they're under contract, then it'll close with ABC Realty, and you will get paid from ABC Realty when it closes. Your new brokerage has nothing to do with it. You hang your license now with the new broker, but your license is still with ABC. ABC will pay you. Okay. Sample question. Which of the following real estate contracts is a service contract? Okay. We're providing a service, the listing agreement, right? That's what it said up here. A listing agreement is a service contract. Agent performs a service, and that is to promote the property, advertise it, market it, whatever it takes, put a sign up, create flyers, do open houses, knock on doors, let people know around the neighborhood until we receive a ready, willing, and buyer's offer. Okay. So the listing agreement is the service contract. Another question. Anybody? Okay. A couple listed their home with a broker. After 2 months, the seller found a buyer and the sale closed. The seller was not obligated to pay a commission to the broker. This is most likely what kind of a listing. Remember, we have what? Exclusive agency, exclusive right to sell, net listing, and open. So which listing was it? You already saw the answer of it. That's okay. We're learning. So client lists the property with a broker. Client brings the buyer. Broker doesn't get paid. What kind of listing is that? That's how you got to break it down on an exam is, think it down on your mind or a piece of paper if they let you. So that is an exclusive agency listing, not exclusive right to sell. Yes, we are a special agent. So we are a special agent, but it says what kind of listing. Okay. So all of these, we're a special agent, right? We're dealing with one property. So that's right, Lisbeth. However, it says what this listing most likely is what? We're talking about the 4 different types of listings. So it is an exclusive agency listing. Seller lists with one broker, but if seller finds buyer, they don't have to pay the brokerage a commission. So that's what happens here. The seller brought the buyer, right? The seller found a buyer and the sale closed. Seller was not obligated to pay a commission to the broker. This likely was an exclusive agency. So when you get into the business, it's going to be important that, and you're going to be taught and trained and educated and attend classes to do exclusive right to sell. We deserve to get paid just like all other professionals that provide a service. Okay, this is our business. Okay, question. Here's the long one. The real estate market in a property owner's area is deflated. During a listing period of 6 months, the owner lowered the price of her property by $20,000 before finally selling. Upset at taking such a loss of the property, the owner tells the licensee that she is going to lower the percent of commission on the property. Does the owner have a legal basis for this action? What was the initial agreement that has a start and end date? Whatever was signed, no matter what the property sells at, we are owed. So when you go to an attorney and you lose, you still got to pay the fee, right? Whether it was thousands and thousands of dollars. Go to a doctor, you get operated, you still have problems. We still got to pay the fee. So here, we had an agreement for them to provide a service. They did it. It didn't turn out the way we wanted to, or the way they wanted to. We get paid. No commission. So owner has no legal basis for this action. They can sue us. We will still win based on the contract, the listing agreement, the listing service agreement. The error and omissions will protect us should they want to sue us and file a complaint to TREC. TREC will have a hearing and listen to both sides. So the answer is no. That's correct, Lisbeth. Once a commission rate has been negotiated and agreed upon in this listing contract, it cannot be changed unless both parties agree. Okay? Unless both parties agree. Got it? All right. Number 3 of the 3 general principles of agency. Okay. Property management agreement. And how do we become a property manager? By becoming a broker. And how do we become a broker? By doing 4 years of real estate at least, and then taking additional education, like almost having a college degree. You will be allowed, if you have a college degree, 630 hours that could be accepted that you don't have to take. Then you have 270 hours left to take. Then we have to show that we close so many units: sellers, buyers, commercial, residential, multiplexes, land, okay, unimproved and improved. So all different types of properties. We have to show that we did that as a property manager. Because why? Property manager is a general agent, right? Like a general in the military, is a manager of a big corporation. Lots of responsibilities. So we have to know what the heck we're doing. So a property manager is a general agent used to create an agreement between the landlord and the broker, right? Why landlord? Because they're the owner of the properties that the property manager is going to manage. PM is in charge, property manager is in charge of preparing operating budget, payroll, repairs, insurance, etc. PM's job is to generate income and preserve value of the property. Okay, so let's go back to the different types of agency. Right? Special agent, one property, one client. General agent is they can have multiple properties, one client. Okay, so they have broad responsibilities, has a universality in one business aspect. Okay. Got it? Any questions? No? Gosh, one of the Facebooks is, so I don't know if somebody's asking on there. Okay. Sample question. An agency relationship between a property owner and a property manager is usually created by how? A management agreement, a property management agreement. Okay. Otherwise, there isn't one. It's not a listing agreement because they're not going to sell it. It is a property management agreement. So disclosure when acting as principal or other conflict of interest. Excuse me. Okay. So disclosures when acting as principal or other conflict of interest. D, responsibilities of agent to customers and third parties, including disclosure, honesty, integrity, accounting for money. Okay, that was the accounting, the accountability, right? And the old car. And then E, termination of agency. How does the agency relation end? Through expiration. Hold on. Sorry. I'm trying to bring this other page up to par. So a termination of agency ends by one, expiration, completion or performance, right? We sold the property or the property closed. We're representing a buyer. 3, termination by force of law. Okay, if it's a legal, invalid contract, or we did something out of law, illegal to law. 4, destruction of property, death of principal. Okay, that's when it terminates. Remember the other one, the realtor left the area and became inactive. What happened to that listing? That seller, that broker assigned it to another realtor. Principal didn't die. The property wasn't destroyed. And 5, through mutual agreement. Buyer, realtor decides to let the client out. The client changed their mind. They don't want to sell or they don't want to buy. Then, and we both agree, they may have to pay us a commission because we perform certain duties, or they may not. Okay, we don't always get paid. If we agree mutually to cancel a listing, some brokers will not allow clients to cancel a listing without paying their 6% because we've already done a lot of work. Marketing, open houses. We've done a lot of work, okay? Unfortunately, they changed their mind. Well, we still, we're not in the business of providing free services, although we can, but that's not the type of business we are in. But a lot of times I let my clients out because what? I may work with them again. I have an instance right now. I'm relisting a property 4 years ago. We put it on the market. We had an offer. The seller was not totally happy with it, and they didn't have another property. So they don't have to accept the offer price. They had a right to back out. So we canceled. But now 4 years later, they're ready to sell it. They bought another one. They called me back and it's going live this weekend. Okay. So when we practice, we real estate, and we also help people. We're in the business of helping people and helping ourselves. But first we help the client, and it'll come back to us when we do the right thing. So termination of agency, expiration, completion and performance, termination by force of law. Okay, law. Destruction of property or death of the principal. Who's the principal? The owner, the seller, the buyer, the landlord, or the tenant. Okay, and 5, by mutual agreement. Okay, Question, which of the following is a characteristic of a limited partner's role in a limited partnership? Which of the following is a characteristic of a limited partner's role in a limited partnership? So this one is like, okay, did we talk about partnerships? No, whatever. There are different types of relationships in real estate. So reduce personal liability and no management decision making. Okay, because we're dealing with property management, right? So the topic here is property management agreements. So keep your mind on property management agreements. There will probably be LLCs, corporations, and stuff that we're involved with when we're dealing with property management, because the owners of the properties could be a corporation, okay, an LLC or a subchapter, and the subchapter C, sub C, or sub S. So which of the following is a characteristic of a limited partner's role in a limited partnership? So they have a partnership agreement, okay, that's recorded, and it says reduced personal liability and no management decision making. Liability limited to their investment. So if we're in a partnership and the partnership gets sued, the partnership is liable, it's not our personal property, our personal money, our personal belongings. It's the LLC or the corporation, the partnership that is liable. Okay, so reduce personal liability. So it's not our personal. So there comes a time where IRS doesn't care if you own it. They will foreclose on a general foreclosure. They go after the individual, everything the individual owns, not just their business. Okay. And so IRS can do that. Certain government agencies can do that. They go after everything. And that's when they are attacking personal and business. An individual can lose everything. They may allow them to keep a car or a house, or, you know, when they go bankrupt or something like that. However, that's when individuals completely get destroyed, when they've made some wrong decisions or business went down and there's a lot of money owed. But here in a limited partnership, limited partners role, it reduced personal liability, personal, okay, and no management decision making. Liability limited to their investment. Oh, wow, that's it. All right. So we had the 3 general principles, property management. So let me reduce the okay. So we had property management was the big one, number 3. Let me go all the way to the top. So types of agencies and agents and agencies, right? So personal agent, general agent, universal agent. And you're doing transactional per transaction, or we're facilitators if we don't represent someone. Our duties, old car, okay? To the agent's duty, client duty, customer. Those are agent duties to clients. And then traditional agency duties, power of attorneys. That's when the property manager has every duty to buy and sell and get loan. So one, buyer representation agreement are the different types of agency agreements. And then property management agreements. Okay, so agency, buyer rep agreement, listing agreement, and property management agreements are 3 different types of agreements. Okay, But this was all on agency relationship, 3 general principles of agency. We're a special agent, a general agent, or a universal agent, right? When we all start, we're a special agent. And in Texas, our first 4 years, unless we decide to become a broker, then we take our broker classes, we pass those exams, and we can become a property manager. We're a general agent. If that property manager signs a power of attorney with us to have more responsibility and we can do more things for them, then we are a universal agent. But general and universal are broker licenses. As an agent, we are a special agent working with one client, one transaction at a time. Okay? And we either represent the seller, the buyer, a landlord, or we represent the seller. This is in Texas, okay? Single agency, no dual agency. So then, and if we write a contract for the buyer, we attracted the buyer. How did we attract them? Through our sign, through our flyers, through online marketing, realtor.com, Zillow, Trulia, Homes for Sale, all our MLS, all those places. We attracted the buyer. They come to us. We owe them what? Fairness and honesty. And so we have to advise them. We represent the seller. I cannot represent you, nor can I negotiate or give you advice. However, I can provide you public information, facts, disclosures that I'm allowed to, and write the contract for you. And then I become a facilitator, or we can assign a buyer agent, or you can go get your own buyer agent. Okay. A lot of them will say, no, that's okay. You write the contract. Now in Texas, then we facilitate the transaction, right? It's a transactional relationship and we facilitate it. We represent the seller. We get paid for both sides because we also wrote the contract for the buyer. If we're not comfortable with that, then we refer it to another realtor that we know within the organization, let the broker know, and they pay us a 25% referral or 50% referral if we did all the work already, and do it that way. Okay. Many people are not comfortable doing transaction for the buyer. I've done them a lot in Texas, therefore I'm okay with it. And so I double side a lot of my listings when I represent the seller and legally advise the buyers, and I facilitate the transaction. Okay. And then buyer agents duties. Agents duties to clients, the old car. We have the agent is the realtor, the client is the principal, the seller, and the customer is the third party. We owe them what? Honesty and fairness. Okay. And then traditional agency duties and powers of attorney. Traditional is we're a buyer agent, we're a seller agent. Power of attorney and other delegations, that's done with property management. And if you have a power of attorney law agreement. So then we have buyer agency agreement, listing agreement, open, exclusive right to sell, net listing. And the property manager, right? They're a general agent, okay? And can become a universal agent. How does a contract agency get terminated? Either by expiration, by completion of performance, termination by force of law, destruction of property, death of principal, or mutual agreement. All right, so there was a discussion for general principles of agency, which is crucial for you to pass your exams or even to know as a realtor. We'd be amazed at how a lot of us don't know these things, even after practicing real estate for years. Okay, these are very important here. You're going to get asked several questions, right? It says on top that you will get about 10 to 11 questions. It's 13% of the salesperson exam. Okay, brokers also take these, right? And even brokers get nervous taking the brokerage exams. So if you're taking this exam and you don't pass it the first time, the second time, the third time, Hey, don't punish yourself. Don't be so hard on yourself. It's taken some top producing realtors up to 10 times. It just meant you didn't understand the material well enough. You didn't understand the topics, the subjects, the different categories, how the questions are written. They can be very tricky. A lot of the questions you say, man, I never read that in my books. Okay. They make us think. It's not good to memorize. They make us think. So you see, a lot of these words here were what? Definitions, right? Vocabulary, special agent, general agent, universal agent, agency, facilitators, transactional. Understand that's why I push vocabulary so much. Because when you understand the vocabulary, then you understand these topics. You understand more about agency principles, general principles of agency. What's an agent? What's a broker? What's a realtor? What's a sub-agent? Vocabulary, vocabulary, vocabulary. I can't get it enough into your head or mind. Okay? Vocabulary, learn it. It helps you understand real estate. It's a language of real estate, which I'm passionate about. Okay, can you tell? Okay, everybody. So let's see. I don't see any questions. Okay, this is the time to ask questions. Okay, because I'm going to call it a day or call it a morning. So again, remember you all, if you're coming to my YouTube channel, I do have a YouTube channel called YouTube AgentPrep. And that channel is to help realtors or students pass their real estate exam, prepare for their real estate exam, or for new agents or existing agents now to start learning how to start their business, how to start your business, what things to do, not to do. I've started doing that as of January 1st. And so now the YouTube channel is for both, for students passing their exam, preparing for it, and for beginning realtors, existing realtors. So when you come to my YouTube channel, hey, tap that subscribe button, click that little bell so that you're one of the first to get notified when I go live or I upload a new video. And like this video, okay? Comment below what you'd like me to talk about in addition to what we normally do, national questions, state questions, and vocabulary. I had a request to do this. So remember to comment below. If you like this video, comment below. If you like this video, provided some value, subscribe to my channel. Click the bell. It helps YouTube spread the word, promote the channel, and provide more information to you as I get motivated to do more videos and more training and education. This is something I love. I'm passionate about it. So I'll continue to create them, but it'll motivate me more if you subscribe to this channel. So you all, thanks again for attending today. And I hope this helped you out, and it will help you out. Watch it again several times. Repetition, repetition, learn it. Study in short spurts every 20 minutes, take a break, and prepare for your exams. Do not fear. Do not panic. Trust. Have faith. Until next time, catch you later.